ultimate convertible.
This is fun, isn't it?
I mean, it's a fun car to drive swiftly as opposed to fast. Because fast, you're going to wind up in jail. You know, just kind of zipping along like this. Welcome to an episode of Jay Leno's Garage, a car featuring today McLaren Elva. This is one of those, this will spark endless debates. People love it, hate it, can't figure it out, why'd they build it. I think it's great. I mean, you talk about breaking boundaries and you know, so many cars now are almost too comfy, almost too isolating. This, to me, well, as you can see, it has no windshield. But it has a very unique aerodynamic system. I'm going to bring someone in to explain how this works. So it creates sort of a bubble where the air literally goes over you. For those of you that like to go fast, that like open wheel cars, that like motorcycles, I think it's the ultimate driver's car, only because it's the ultimate driving experience. As I said, I've got a P1, which I love. It's one of my favorite cars. I got 12,000 miles on it. But you really need to get up over 100 miles an hour to feel like you're moving, you know? Whereas this, you get the full sensation of speed and excitement, and you never have to clean the windshield. There's never going to be a guy going like this with a squeegee. You pull up to the light. Sorry, mate. Oh, okay, there you go. But look, let me bring a gentleman in, the chief engineer. He's come from England to explain this to us. Andrew Kay. Andrew, come on in. Chief engineer for Elva, correct?
Correct, yeah. Hello, Jay.
So now, how did this work? Did they come to you with the idea? How do we do it? Did you guys think up the idea and then build it? I mean...
So I was working on the 720 Spyder at the time, just finishing that project off.
Right.
And my boss came to see me and said, Andrew, we'd like to do an Ultimate Series car, but with no windscreen. I think he probably gave me a weight target at that point, and that was it. That was the brief.
Right.
So it was really open, and between the product team and the studio team, we sat down and started working through what we wanted to do with the car. And the great thing about doing Ultimate Series cars is you can really have fun, really express something different, and
well, that's what I like.
Push innovations.
I like that you guys take a chance on something that's never been done before, because initially I thought, well, that seems kind of dumb, and then the more I thought about it, like, everyone goes nuts for the Ariel Atom. Well, this is the ultimate expression of that, but with just center handling and mind-boggling performance. It's, what does it weigh, about 2,700 pounds, something like that?
Yeah, it's 1269 kilos,
right.
and that's with about 70 litres of fuel in,
right.
so it's about 1,200
And that's
kilos.
with fuel in, okay, that's
That's so
wet.
it's a very lightweight car, about 50 kilos lighter than a Senna.
Is it fair to say it's the ultimate version of the Senna? Is it sort of based on the Senna?
Bits of it are Senna. So we've got the Senna engine, which
right.
is just a magnificent powertrain for the car, but
right.
it's its own thing.
So it's 3.8 litre.
4 litre.
Oh, it's the 4 litre.
Okay. V8 twin turbo.
Okay.
Yeah. So 815 PS,
right.
804 horsepower.
2,700 is anything under 3,000 pounds is light these days. You know, when I was a kid, it was 1,500 pounds. It was the Lotus Elan, but you've got to have safety features and airbags and all that on it.
Yeah.
So to reach a figure of 27 is great. I just like the free thinking idea of it. I like the fact that it's not a safe car. It's a car that's going to divide people. Love it, hate it, why would you do that? I would never drive it. I have to drive it. I want to drive it. You know, I think it's really great.
Well, we really wanted to make a car, you know, a few times car companies have taken windscreens off, but we really wanted to make a car that was usable, a usable product, not just a car that we've taken the windscreen off and it's a bit of a gimmick. So as you were saying in the introduction, we really wanted the car to be that fantastic driving experience, engaging all of your senses, the touch and the
right.
feel on the steering wheel, but also engaging you in the environment that you're driving through, and nothing does that like taking the windscreen away.
Well, I love the fact you're not taking the windscreen off. It was never on this thing.
Yeah.
It was never here. I mean, the old days you get the Brooklyn screens, or you get the thing that falls down, but this...
That was the one given
right.
right from the start, yeah.
Okay, explain this piece here.
The little mirror. So we only fit this mirror to
it's a
American
mirror.
American cars.
I see. Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's not glass. It's just polished aluminium, which is rather a nice way to make it.
Well, that's what threw me. I went, no, it can't be a mirror because it's not glass. But
it is a mirror, and we only fit it to the federal cars. It's just a regulation that we have to fit the cars with a mirror.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you have to rear view even though you have more than adequate.
These are the ones that do all the legal coverage, and these are far
Right.
more useful on the road.
Okay. Okay.
So when we did Senna, even if you had the rear bulkhead as solid carbon, you could have a optional glass or carbon. Even if you had the carbon, we still had to fit the rear view mirror because that's what the rules say you have to do.
Is the wheelbase the same as the Senna?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Okay.
2670. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wheelbase
Yeah.
is the same. Yeah, I saw the Senna. To me, it seems almost too extreme for the street.
Mm.
I mean, it looks like, hey, how old are you? Like a racing. It's almost like it's too hardcore.
It's very much a race car first
Right.
that we worked on to make it road legal. This right from the ground up, we wanted this to be a road car first.
Well, to me,
this is good on the track,
that's
but
what I love
it's a road car primarily.
I like when McLaren builds a road car. Like with the F1, it was the ultimate road car, which means it's the ultimate experience on the road. I drive a lot of
Yeah.
these cars that are race cars for the road, and I'm getting kidney punched, and
Yeah.
it bang, bang. It's too harsh. It's too.
Absolutely not what we wanted from this. We
Yeah,
wanted this to be
yeah.
really agile, but really fluid, lots of compliance, so that you have a lot of confidence, even on broken roads and rough surfaces. This car gives you a lot of confidence to
Now
push it.
tell me about the aerodynamics of creating this sort of air bubble. How does that work?
So that was been the biggest challenge on the project,
I would
is
think
how
so.
to keep you comfortable. So we actually took an old Senna development car and we chopped it off at the bottom of the A-pillars and went driving in it to do some of the early development work. And
Right.
of course, you start at kind of 30 miles an hour and you think, oh, this is great because you've got this amazing forward vision. But actually, your eyes start watering because of the airflow, and then
Right,
you get to
right.
60 miles an hour. And actually, it's starting to get a little bit difficult to breathe because you're kind of getting pressurized.
Right.
By the time you're doing 80 miles an hour, it's horrible. You know, you've got all this wind and noise. You can't talk to anyone. So that wasn't at all what we wanted with this car. We wanted to keep the open vision and the exposure, but protect you. So the way we do that is all at the front of the car. So all of the air that comes in this section here, down on the nose, between these two
Right.
upright elements. So that whole intake, all of that feeds into an enormous duct. So normally this area of a McLaren has our luggage area in the front. All of that's full of this duct, and we turn the air through about 130 degrees and fire it out through these turning vanes here. So
Okay.
these vanes are sculpting and guiding the air to create the shape of the bubble coming
Now, how
over your
about the air
head.
coming over the top? Does that sort of hit?
So exactly. So because this is facing forwards, this would ingest air, so air
Right.
would go in the wrong way. So this deflector will come up once you're
I see.
driving above 28 miles an hour. This
Oh,
will actually
okay.
pop up,
I get it.
and it creates low pressure here. So it's actually helping to suck the air out. The air comes out about 5% faster than it went in,
Right.
even though there's no fans. So it's
Right.
only using the vehicle speed to power the system.
Oh, and no fans.
No fans, no. So
Okay.
this element is powered in that it comes up and down, and there's a big valve inside so that we can shut the system off when it's not in use, because
Right.
it disrupts the airflow
Right.
further down the body.
Okay, and this here.
This is just a service cover, so
Okay.
brake fluid and steering fluid
Gotcha,
in
gotcha.
there.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about aero. There are two kind of ways to use the car. One is without a helmet, and you'd use the active air management system then to keep you comfortable. But if you put a helmet on, it's best actually to turn the air management system off, which is why we have the valve inside it to turn it off. But what we found then is that as the air flows along the bodywork, it actually becomes turbulent, and that's
Right.
normal. Any air flowing across a surface
Sure.
becomes turbulent. That's why wind feels gusty on a windy day. But if that flowed up the instrument cluster, it hits you right in the face, and that caused the helmet to vibrate and wobble about on
Right.
your head, really uncomfortable. So you can see the instrument cluster there is this kind of pebble-like sculpture.
Right.
What that does is it actually takes the turbulent layer of air underneath it. So the turbulent air is brought down into your chest, meaning that your head, the helmet, is in clean airflow, which is more powerful, but actually it's not got the turbulent nature, so it's much cleaner, so you get more comfort.
How about
at high
just
speeds.
goggles? You're probably all right with just
Yeah,
goggles.
you can wear just goggles.
And
yeah,
what is this here?
That's the light sensor for the active headlamps.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How many hours to develop this aerodynamic system? I'm just curious. Is it?
Well, the active air management system was very difficult to develop. Actually, in the early days, the outlet was right the way back here. So when we first started the idea, we thought keep it as close to you as possible and just kind of pop the air out over your head.
Is this sort of F1 technology?
Well, most of the guys that worked on it were ex-F1 aerodynamicists, but it's its own thing. There was no rule book for how to do this, which is why we tried it here. Couldn't get this to work. The package to get the airflow here is too restrictive. So then we moved it to the front of the car, made it much much bigger, and that's what we found.
But it's safe to say this has never been done in a road car before.
Not on this sort of scale. No, there've been a few little. There was a Renault back in 1995 that did something similar concept, but kind of this size up here. Nothing on the scale that this is.
Right. Okay. And it's really like a motorcycle, isn't it? There's no luggage.
No, there's a small amount of luggage under the tonneau here, so we'll show you that in a moment, perhaps. But no, it's not a car for crossing continents or doing the weekly shopping. We always imagine that this is the car on that Sunday morning. You'd wake up, the weather's like it is here in California. Well, it's the way you take it up into the hills and just have a blast with it for a couple of hours.
The way you would ride a motorcycle. Or
exactly the way you'd use a motorbike. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is great for those guys that have the wife that don't want you to ride motorcycles anymore. Very sensible alternative. Very sensible alternative. I just like the fact that while every other car company is busy building SUVs and other things to sort of accommodate, you're just going more ultimate car as opposed to less, you know.
It was definitely the case with this.
Yeah, I mean, it must be a fun project to be given because all the normal parameters, but it must be this high, and you must be able to get a sheet of plywood in the back, and you have to be able to do this and go shopping and
cut all of that away and just what can we do with a new set of
it's
new
not
set
a
of
race
parameters.
Car, but it's the ultimate road car, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I would call this even more ultimate than the Senna, because the Senna is kind of a race car. This is an ultimate road car. I think it's just. I have to admit, when I first saw it, I thought, well, that's odd. I mean, it didn't make sense to me. But then the more I sort of got into it, it's really pretty fantastic. Does this open at all?
Yeah, it is. Can I come around to, do that? There we go. I'll go around the other side again and then.
Well, is this the luggage you're talking about?
Yeah, it's full at the moment.
That's hilarious. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's putting like, oh, I see.
So it's custom designed to fit one of the helmets.
So I'm sorry. Well, that is hilarious. So if you need to pick up like a thing of Q-tips, this is the car you want to run the other. That's very funny. And what am I looking at here? Is this air filter?
So these are the air filters.
Okay.
We needed to put a cover over them for service, because obviously it's a serviceable item, but we decided to make it a polycarbonate cover just so you can see them. There's not a technical reason for that, to be honest. It's just it's just a fun thing to do to show them.
It's not pulling air from the top here anywhere.
No, the air is drawn in from the back here. It comes forwards into this chamber where it's filtered and then down into the turbos. So to begin with, we wanted to have the air intakes up here, kind of like a Formula One car. We built an early mule car to test that. And found that the sound of the intake was really overwhelming. All you could hear was intake sound. We really wanted to be able to hear the exhaust in this car, so we've moved the intake further back in order to balance that sound out.
And what is the coefficient of drag with this car here? Is it better than a Senna, or it would be less?
It's better than a Senna, particularly with the AMS off, just because we've got a smaller cross-sectional area. Yeah, all that downforce is relatively draggy,
Okay, and obviously there's no wing or anything.
Yeah, no, the wing is active.
Oh, it is?
So we have an active,
it does have an active wing.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So,
well, I like that. I like the fact that the wing is active as opposed to, I bought a Countach back 40 years ago and it had this stupid wing on it, and it just looked, I just took it off.
It's much cleaner to have it flush to the body, and then it comes up when you need it. So interestingly, when you turn the active air management system on, it creates quite a lot of front downforce because you're lifting air over your heads, so the car goes down as a result. So we use the rear wing to rebalance the car. So when you turn AMS on, the wing goes to a much higher angle than if the AMS was not on.
So if you were going for top speed, you would turn off the air management
Absolutely,
system.
yeah, and put a helmet on.
Okay, right. All right, very cool. Now, it's street legal in the U.S., yes?
Yeah. So it's fully homologated for the United States, so
Right.
we can sell the cars here quite happily.
Right.
That wasn't easy to do because of the crash regulations. That's particularly challenging for a car that has no windscreen,
Well, yeah,
because of the
especially the United
airbags
States.
work off the windscreen, so that was a good challenge.
To get seal beam headlights took years in the United States. To have double headlights was a huge deal. Or to have, like the Citroën back in the 70s, that has turning headlights, which are fantastic, but illegal for, I don't know what other odd reason.
40
that would
years,
be.
yeah, before they were.
So, God bless you for getting that passed.
Yeah, so it is legal. In some states, there's a requirement on the driver of the car to make sure that the car has a windscreen.
Right.
So presumably that's, in case someone's had a smashed windscreen, you should have it repaired. So you should get a ticket if you don't have a functional windscreen. But that's the reason why some people were nervous of the car, for that reason, awareness of that sort of local law. And so we do a version of the car with a windscreen, with a windshield.
So we're looking at 815, transmission is what, how many gears?
7-speed, dual
7
clutch.
speed,
Yeah.
okay, 7 speed. And this is obviously your information, as everything is here, correct?
Yeah, infotainment on the central displays. This is the same display that we're fitting to the Artura, the new hybrid.
Oh, right, okay.
Car that's coming out. We've also changed the way that you interact with the modes in the car. So we used to have to push an active button, and then there were two kind of rotary controls. You probably know them from your 12-seat. Yeah, for comfort.
Don't have that anymore?
We have the modes, but the way that you access them is different. So now we use these rocker switches here either side of the steering wheel, so that you can actually change mode just with your fingertips as you're driving. So you don't need to look away, you don't need to take your hand off the steering wheel. You can do it all with your hands on the controls.
Is there a heater?
There is, yep. So heater and air conditioning.
Okay.
We've moved the outlets down quite a lot lower than they normally would be. So if they were up at the normal position, the airflow would just, you'd lose the heat.
Right,
So we've pulled them right down into the cabin as low as we can. It works really well up to about 50 miles an hour, and then the airflow is too much, and you
but
do
with the air conditioner
lose it.
on, you're actually cooling the planet, so you're stopping global warming, because the
It takes a while to bring the temperature down.
Yeah, the air conditioning is not just, you see, it's very funny.
Yeah. Once you're moving, it's fine, but it's when you stop at traffic lights that you kind of, you really need to feel that cooling
As you
air.
guys were brainstorming this, where there's some ideas, we just couldn't possibly do that, couldn't get it to work. But it seems like, I just like it because the free expression of it, it's trying to work around every possible regulation. I mean, everything now has to be so regulated and whatnot. The fact that you're able to do this and get the aerodynamics as such is, yeah, really fantastic. I think it's really amazing, and it's a car that divides people, doesn't it? Some people get it.
It does, yeah, and that's okay. You know, it's not for everyone. We knew it wouldn't be for everyone, but the people that get it,
well, this is the ultimate
"ow,
my hair car," as my wife would say.
Yeah.
You know, no, we're not taking that because we're going to meet the so-and-sos and have lunch. Okay, I'll take the other car. You know, but I mean, that's it's the greatest "ow, my hair" car ever. Yeah, I think it's really unique because it is the ultimate driving car. To me, I have Gordon Murray's Rocket over there, which was, I think it's the only one in the U.S., which at the time was the ultimate. And this is, again, almost a version of that, like a giant aerial atom. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean it as I mean, Simon's idea was to have no barriers, just, and that's what you have here. I think it's great. It's not a winter car. I mean, in England, I can't imagine, it's just raining all the time.
Well, this car was used for a photo shoot in Scotland.
Right.
And actually our project manager drove the car from Fort William in Scotland down to his house in Newcastle, which is about 300 miles.
Right.
And it rained on him the whole way, but actually he kept the AMS on, and the system actually keeps the rain off. So you can see rain coming down and then being deflected up and over your head. It's quite a bizarre experience.
Funny.
The only time he stopped and put the helmet on was when it started hailing.
Right.
And that did hurt, so he did stop and put the helmet on. I can show you the helmet actually if you like, and explain how that
does it come
works.
with a helmet?
So you get two helmets with the car, and we also provide eyewear with the car, which we can talk about as well if you like. So we wanted,
it's not a full face.
We wanted first of all for the helmet to be, for it to not take away from the open nature of the car. You wanted to still feel like you were a part of that big open world. So hence the bubble visor. to keep that openness. It's got aero devices on the front. Here you can see the little chin spoiler, and again on the rear. That's to stop lift. So as you get airflow over the helmet, remember it's here in that clean airflow that we talked about. It will lift, and in fact the test driver that drove the car and tested the VMAX at over 200 miles an hour, he didn't have one of these helmets. He had his own helmet, and he was it was quite uncomfortable at 200 miles an hour. He was glad to finish. So these devices help kill off the lift. The other thing we found with a full face helmet is it sticks much further out in front of your face, and actually as you turn your head in the airflow, it kind of acts like a weather vane and kind of snaps your head round to the left or right. So again, by taking that chin piece away, we're able to make the helmet more stable.
And what am I looking at here?
So these are the side airbag.
Oh, of course.
Covers. So we've got side airbags here in the passenger and driver's airbag in the usual way. But of course, these all had to be developed uniquely for the car because there's no window for them to react from. So passenger side in particular.
So the passenger has to carry their helmet. Only one can be stored in the car.
Only one can fit behind there. So the passenger's one can go in the footwell.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, I think it's really. And what are those little just side bins?
So little side doors here. This is where you can keep the glasses that come with the car.
Oh, you get glasses as well. Ah.
Yeah. So these are made here in California. Actually, there's a company that makes these. So they have a very high level of impact resistance. So actually US Navy SEALs use these.
Oh, and thank you. They're not sunglasses. I hate sunglasses. So
they're clear
I love they're clear.
They're clear in here. Once we go outside, they'll tint a little bit.
Okay.
But they're aluminium frames, so you can actually mould the frame to fit your face. They're very close fitting, which is better for the airflow.
Cool. Oh, I'll have to try those.
And a good level of protection. So yeah, those just store down in
these glass or plastic? Plastic?
They're a polycarbonate. Yeah, very high impact protection.
You get two pairs with it?
Two pairs of these, two helmets. And obviously the helmets are sized for the customers.
There you go. Well, let's see, what else do we have here?
We can talk about the
and like
exhaust at the back of the car.
You can't really get to the motor.
No, not easy to get to the.
Right.
Not easy to get to the motor. Should we close that? So active rear wing, which we've spoken about. So we use that to maintain balance of the car and under braking.
Can that be put up manually or only?
Yeah, you can do it manually, but it'll always override, so it comes up to a higher position for braking stability. The exhaust is something we developed very early on in the project because it's one of the key points that the studio will design around. And so we tried lots of different things, and the team that were developing it, our MVH team, a lot of them are Italian, and they get quite emotional about what they're doing and wave their arms around a lot. And they said, oh, well, if we have the exhausts really close together and kind of coming out of the back at 45 degrees up, you get all these nice high-pitch harmonic frequencies come from that, like a race car. It's what we did on Senna.
Right.
They're very close together, and the two banks kind of interact together. So that's really good. But actually, if we had them wide apart, you get all these bass frequencies. It sounds much richer. You get more volume because you reflect the sound off the road surfaces. And they said, Andrew, you know what we'd really like to do is both, but we know that that's too difficult and too complicated. And I said, well, yeah, maybe for some of our other cars it would be, but you know, this is an Ultimate Series car. We can afford to push ourselves. So we gave them both, but they said, oh, if we could have both, that would be our nirvana.
Right.
So this has always been known as the Nirvana exhaust. Nothing to do with the grunge band.
Right.
But purely because it made our team of Italians very happy.
But
it's a really unique sounding exhaust, quite different to
and Elva is from the French?
Yeah, so it means she goes in French. Yeah. So the story there is the very first McLarens that were sold to the public were the M1A. So back in the early 1960s, Bruce designed the M1A race car, which he raced very successfully. And a lot of customers wanted to buy the car from him, but at the time McLaren was only sort of 4 or 5 people, so they weren't set up to build cars. So they asked a company called Elva in the south of England to produce these cars kind of under license.
Okay.
So that's where the link came from. It's a similar looking car to this.
Well, you know, Bruce's sister was here not long ago.
Was she?
Oh yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun.
Ah.
Let's see, and this opens the door.
Yeah, so the
here.
button just squeezes there. So we've cut back the base of the seat so that you can step into the car. So almost like getting into the bath, you can just step into the car. We can do that because of not having the A-pillar that would normally be in your way for getting in and out.
And of course, this is not leather, but it's obviously some material that can get wet.
Yeah, this is super fabric, so it feels leather-like, but it's actually a kind of a multi-layered material. It's a great seating material because it's waterproof, but it's breathable, kind of like a Gore-Tex jacket. What's really cool about it is that it's very heat stable. So you can leave the car out in the sun, and these won't get as hot as leather seats would do.
And you really can't let this out of your sight, really, when you're wherever you are. You just sort of park it, and then you eat dinner over here, you know. But see, it's perfect for me, because when my wife and I go out to eat, if I can't see my car from the table, we're not eating there.
Well, we have a little cover, a waterproof cover that goes over the cabin, so that if you do need to leave the car,
it does.
It's not completely secure, but it just keeps people's eyes and fingers out.
And how does it fasten?
So it fastens onto the AMS at the front.
Oh, I see.
Wraps around the mirrors,
just sort of
tucks
a hook
into
or something.
Yeah, it just hooks into a few key points on the
Okay.
car. So it just keeps gives you a little bit of privacy on the car.
And any color you want, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. This is the first time I've seen the two-tone, though. I sort of like it with the
Well,
white.
this livery goes back to the 1960s Elva, and there was a film called Spin Out with Elvis Presley, and he drove an Elva, which was in this color scheme.
I believe that's the one where he drives a Cobra, and the Cobra goes, a girl cuts him off at the bridge, and the Cobra goes in the water, and when they pull it out, it's a TR3. I mean, I'm going, hey, who believes that? Yeah, that's like the stupidest movie. Yeah, I think he drives a Duesenberg in that one too, doesn't he? He drives, yeah, hilarious, very funny.
So yeah, that was the
Spin Out, fantastic.
That was inspiration for this.
Well, as an engineer, this must be a wonderful project to work on, with just having that clean sheet of paper, and you're just going for total performance as opposed to having to.
It was lovely having that opportunity, and as well working with a really creative team of engineers, and the guys in the design studio completely embraced the idea of what we were doing. We said the glass house is normally the dividing line between the interior and the exterior of the car, and we don't have to do that, and so we can just allow these body colours and these forms just to flow down into the cabin. It's a system the studio called blurred boundaries, so that there just isn't a boundary between the inside and the outside of the car. So yeah, they really embraced it. And where we needed to make changes for the aerodynamics of the car, design studio are always happy to
And how much of the engineering was
aerodynamics
aerodynamics versus the rest of? We live in an era now where everybody thinks everybody else's job is easy. Oh, you just draw a car and you make it. Yes, but people have no idea just how many thousands of hours go into doing this type of thing. Is that a bulk of the engineering, the aerodynamics? Is it like a third? Is it half? Is it 10%? What would you say?
Well, the AMS was probably 2 or 3 guys for the best part of a year to make it work, and then a couple more guys for the actual engineering. But of course, the design guys had to work with it and find a way to make the overall look of the car as beautiful as it is.
Yeah, and you want to make it attractive too, because I imagine the ultimate way to do it, it would look unattractive.
Yes, so the first version of AMS, actually this deflector that comes out to create the low pressure, it was all the way over to the headlamp head. And it worked brilliantly, but there was no way we were going to make a car that had this kind of slash right the way across the bonnet. So that was a compromise we made with the studio. We really like this line feeding into this intake here, which is part of the radiator cooling. So this kind of spear line running down there became something that we took quite a compromise there on exactly where to place it.
How many radiators in the car?
So there's 2 big radiators cooling the engine, and they're in the back as they would be on a Formula 1 car or on an Indy car. So they sit in here. We've got 3 paths to feed with air. So this duct here on the top that's very prominent. We've got this intake here, which is probably my favourite, if it's not too sad to have favourite intakes,
No,
but I
no.
do, because this is normally where the A-pillar would be.
Right.
And so this is an intake that we just couldn't have on our normal cars.
Oh, okay.
And it's a tube that runs right the way through the door. So when you open the doors, you'll be able to see all the way through there.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then there's a third duct which is fed from just inside the rear wheel, the front wheel,
Oh, here you are, right here.
and
yeah.
runs all the way through the rocker at the bottom of the car. So we've got 3 parts feeding that radiator, and then under the headlamps, on either side, we've got what we call the low temperature radiators, which do the charge cooling for the turbos.
Right.
They cool the clutches and things like that for the transmission as well.
And yeah, but is it oil radiator, oil coolers?
They're water radiators at the front, and then there's a water to air cooler at the back.
Yeah. Well, just fantastic. Now you mentioned an audio system, and most of my cars, if the window's down this much, I can't hear the radio. So I can't. Are these your speakers here?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so a bit like with the climate control system and the AMS, we wanted to offer the feature to the customer, but make it usable. And if we'd put the speakers further forwards, you know, we just think the sound would have been lost. So
Right.
we've put them here, and actually each seat has a stereo pair. So
Right.
whereas in your normal car, the stereo is split across the car,
Right.
here it's split left and right, almost like headphones. So
Okay.
it's like having the speakers directly
Gotcha.
there. We've got tweeters here where you can see the grille, and then the woofers are further down, kind of by your kidneys. And these speakers are made. They're not Bowers and Wilkins, which is who we normally
Right.
use. These are made by Bowers' parent company called Harman.
Okay.
And we use them because they're actually speakers from the yachting industry, so they're waterproof.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But they're still very, very high
and
quality
you
speakers.
access your radio through the panel.
Yeah, through the ADI.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, very good. Let's take it for a ride. It's going to be fun. All right. Let's. So step in here. Well, it's so odd not to have a windshield in front of you. I mean, that's pretty neat.
Just lovely bodywork.
Yeah. Pretty much standard McLaren, right?
Yep.
Where's the brake release?
Brake release is on the left.
No, where is it?
Just push it in.
Windshield you never have to clean.
Apart from your glasses, if we get covered in bugs.
Yeah. Oh, I see. There we are.
Here we go. So it feels fun and exciting already, doesn't it? Even though we're we're not going particularly fast. But
Well, you
already
feel like you're driving.
you feel more engaged. Yeah.
This greenhouse effect is fantastic. There's a new P1 coming, eh?
We've always got something in the works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the whole industry is at a really interesting point in history at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, clearly we're moving from petrol cars to eventually electric, and you know, things like the original P1 helped pave that way and show the
You know, I've got that
way to do hybrid.
I've got that Tesla Plaid, and oh my God.
Well, I worry a bit for supercars because you know you can get a Tesla that probably is as fast in a straight line as this is. You know, maybe a bit heavier on the corners.
No, it's fast.
Or a lot heavier, but in the straight lines, it's.
Well, you
can
know
do that
something?
with 5 of you on board.
You know, the Tesla Plaid beat the Porsche 911 RS
Yeah.
at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. If these supercars are going to lose, you know, going to have the same performance as other more mainstream cars.
Well, to me,
they're going to lose
this is
the
not
soundtrack.
This one isn't even about the performance; it's about the driving experience.
Yeah.
That's what's fun. I mean, right now you feel like the biggest problem with supercars is they're just claustrophobic for the most part. You get in here and you're sort of like this, and The Aventador, I can't, I don't know where it is. Where am I here? It's so wide, it's so big.
Yeah.
And I can't see what's behind me. You know, I mean, I can, but I have to actually actively look. I can't at a quick glance. You know.
It becomes quite intimidating to drive, which is not, it's not fun, is it?
Yeah, and this, people know you're an enthusiast if you're driving this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how strong that deflector must be.
Oh, against the airflow. Yeah, it's carbon with it's about a 5-6 millimeter section with a honeycomb or a foam center. So it's very stiff.
That's my favorite thing. I was telling people on my P1, the front splitter, which is that long.
Yeah.
If I crack it, I either get a new splitter or a Z06 Corvette.
Is it really that much?
Yeah, it's like.
Did we not do a special price for you?
It's like
surely.
It's like 80 something. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I would have thought in your workshop, your guys could probably make a mold of the existing part and
we've done
knock
that.
you out a few
You know,
spares.
on my F1, I broke a shifter fork, and we made a new one in the shop. We put it in.
Well, that was one of Gordon's requirements, was that, you know, even 100 years from now, it should be possible to remake parts of the car to keep it running.
Well, that's what's fun about it. I mean, it's the ultimate analog car, but
yeah.
I mean, when we service it, we pull the engine out at the shop here. There's a couple of videos of it out.
I think I may have seen one or two of those. Yeah.
I mean, we bring in Pawnee, and he helps us out, obviously.
You must get an amazing reaction if you go out in that car. I mean,
well, people either
know what it is, or
people either have no idea or they go crazy.
Yes, yeah.
The sad thing is, it's so expensive. When I first got it, I used it as a car. I went everywhere in it. And then it just got to the point where, if anything happens, it's a house.
Yeah.
It's literally a house.
Have you had yours from new? Did you buy it
No.
from us originally?
I bought it second hand.
Okay. I don't know what they're worth now, but I
20 million one sold for.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a bit of a liability then, isn't it, if you take it out?
Now this seems to ride a lot smoother to me, even in sport mode. Am I in sport or tracks? Is there
you're in comfort, so it's sport on the powertrain, and you're in comfort.
Oh, I see. It's quite comfortable, is it?
It is, yeah. Well, that's what we wanted, you know, we didn't want to be shaken.
Yeah.
You know, because something like a Senna, it's really hard, it's really rattly.
Yeah.
And on the racetrack, that probably adds to the excitement, but on the road, it's just miserable. There's no fun in that. So, we wanted this car to be quite soft and compliant, relatively.
I mean, it's the ultimate convertible.
This is fun, isn't it?
It is fun.
Perfect weather as well, nice and cool, sunny.
Shut off the aerodynamics for a minute.
So if you drop it below 40 miles an hour, I can turn it off. We can't do it. I don't know what speed we're doing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you just drop it down to below 40, we'll turn it off.
I'm just curious to see what the...
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
40, 38.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's immediate, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a difference. Oh, it's amazing. Wow, what a difference. Even at 60 or 70, I can, my vision's getting blurry. Let's put it back on again.
No, slow down.
Oh, you have to slow down?
Slow down to 40, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only then you realise how much the system's doing, and actually you can feel the shape of the bubble. You can feel where the air turns to the free stream.
Horsepower is always the same. It's not like other ones where sport it opens a valve and
Yeah, no, it's always, all of the power is always available.
Yeah.
When you change the modes, it changes the character of the shifts.
Right.
So here in sport, it's probably the most kind of theatrical. it's quite a hard clutch engagement, so you get lots of drama and theatre with it. In track, that's the fastest we can possibly do it. So it's less dramatic, but it is actually faster.
Yeah.
And in comfort, it's exactly what it says. It's just a smoother driving experience. But I enjoy sport. I like the theatre and the cracks and the pops.
Yeah.
From the back of the car.
Well, that little mirror is useless, isn't it? Hilarious.
Yeah. Well, you can set it so that you can keep an eye on your passenger, and that's about all it's good for.
The 720 is a brilliant car.
Yeah, it's boy, it's such a, it's got a huge all-round capability.
I drove one on the track. I was amazed at how good it is.
Yeah, there's not much to keep up with it.
No, it really is very, very nice. Is the heating and the air conditioning more powerful than in the 720 or the others, or is it basically the same unit?
It's the same unit. Right. We took the recirculation system off the pollen filter because obviously there's no point. So that was part of our weight reduction system. But it's the same core system. We've calibrated it slightly differently to cope with the different cabin.
When I bought my F1, I got it from the factory, and they said it has air conditioning.
Yeah.
But if you want good air conditioning, it's an additional $25,000.
Yeah, we've moved on a bit since then.
Yeah, yeah.
Understand our customers a little bit better, I would hope. So the brakes in this are the same brakes we fitted to the Senna.
Right.
So they're the carbon ceramic.
Are they the same ones as my P1? The Japanese.
They're similar. They're not the same. No, because you've got the Akebono brakes in the P1. We had a new system called CCMR for Senna. The only difference, any change we made, is that we changed the pistons inside the calipers from steel to titanium to save weight.
Right.
And because that's weight out on the wheels at the unsprung mass, it helps improve ride quality as well.
It's a gimmick, but it's a great gimmick.
Well, it just enables you to enjoy the car. What was interesting there is we came up behind the truck, so we were getting airflow from the sides. Suddenly it got a bit more buffeting, didn't it?
Yeah. Has any P1s been wrecked?
I don't know. I know. I know one of our engineers wrecked one. But I don't know. They're probably not very easy to write off because they're such intrinsically valuable cars that it pays to repair them.
How many people have had replacement batteries on their P1s?
I think quite a few now. Yeah.
Mine's lasted quite a while.
Is yours original?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's because I use it. I don't know.
I think you use it and you care for it properly. You said you always plug it in when you get back home, and I think that's probably the key.
One day my charger broke, and I went 4 days without charging it.
Oh, this is perfect. Just the roads.
Yeah.
Just the roads the car needs.
I mean, it's a fun car to drive swiftly as opposed to fast. Because fast, you're going to wind up in jail. Just kind of zipping along like this. Yeah, it's enough to just get you working the suspension, feeling the tires, using it. I want to get a bit of the aroma of the countryside as well. Yes, get a lot of the aroma. Very authentic. This is all horse country. Yeah, definitely. So you never see another. You don't see another vehicle. This is amazing, isn't it? So whose idea was it without the windshield? Did that come down from on high somewhere, or the engineer dream it up, or we were just looking for a new idea for an Ultimate Series car. Right. I think the idea actually came from a guy called Dan Parry-Williams, who was the chief engineer of your P1. Yes, yeah. It was obviously something we'd done before with the Mercedes SLR. We did the Sterling Moss version and took the windscreen off. So we had a little bit of previous, but we wanted to take a very different approach to this. The SLR is the most misunderstood car. They're very, very rare. We only made, I think, 70 of them. I mean, I like mine. I'm never crazy about the electric brakes. They always seem to be a millionth of a second. I can't put my finger. I can't. the amount of time is so short, it just seems like it should be a bit quicker once you hit the brake. Yeah, the active aero, I mean, that's the selling point of the car, isn't it? I mean, I like this way better than the Senna because you can enjoy it for California with you know, you get the sunshine.
It is nice to drive it in the nice weather.
Oh yeah, it really
makes a big difference.
And even when it's a little cold and you've got the heater, it's really fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. It's been a
really
pleasure.
Fantastic, and this is why McLaren is one of my favorite car companies. You know, they're just new ideas, and they build real sports cars for the real reason people buy sports cars. This is not necessarily a car you pull up in front of a restaurant or that kind of nonsense with, you know. Although I suppose you could, but if you gave this a valet, you'd have to be out of your mind. Yeah. Anyway, Andrew, thank you, and thank the folks at McLaren for trusting me with it. And fantastic. The aero system, it really works. I was stunned at the difference between up and, because I thought, oh, well, the wind's in my face. How different can it be? And then when we shut it off, oh my God. Really cool. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.